ladies, gentlemen, pimps in between. Welcome one and welcome all to episode 127 of the Arsenal Cannon Podcast Extravaganza. It's the lull period. It's the off season. Stuff's weird. Stuff is quiet, and I think we all know why. But seeing as we're, educated on this show, I'm just gonna put this out there before we get into the, stuff you actually want to listen to. There is a criminal case going on that is supposedly affecting a North London player. Basically, that's all we know at the moment. We are not going to talk about it because we know what defamation is and libel, unlike a lot of people on social media. So we're not going to mention that at all. If you're looking for a podcast where people are going to mention that, you're at the wrong place. And we're just going to talk about preseason, some transfer rumors going around, and that's pretty much it. It's going to be a short, very brief show just because there's not a whole lot going on. I think I'll speak just on one thing about the case on behalf of really the entire team, because I'm sure we could all agree with this. If it does so happen to be an Arsenal player, we do not want it to be an Arsenal player anymore. Full stop. And we'll see whatever happens. But for now, everything's up in the air. So let's just talk about preseason and transfer rumors, because that's the good stuff, man. The world's too dark. Let's talk about fun, stupid shit. Okay. Introducing first the original. The bumptious Brighton boy, formerly known as a lovely London local lad. I don't know where he is right now. He could be in the Maldives for all I know. Alfie, how's it going, man?
What are you saying, lads? Yeah, I'm decent. Violently hungover and quite ill. So I may be taking a bit of a backseat in this podcast, but I thought if I'm here, I might as well he's put sunglasses on for some reason. Maybe I should do that one day. In fact, I think we should all have a whole episode one day where we all wear sunglasses for the bands. I'm in Brighton. And I loved how you pronounce libel. Libel. I'd love that. I don't know if that's the American thing, but that was pretty jokes. Anyway, I'm decent. How are you, Danny? What are you saying? You're on mute.
There we go. The click didn't take. As soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, did I say that right? Because I don't know if I've ever actually heard anyone say it. I just read it all the time, so I've just kind of created.
That's because it is written slander, isn't it?
Right.
Slander's verbal, yeah.
Okay, and I put these sunglasses on because I noticed my left eye is like red because I've been rubbing it, and now I'm insecure about my red eye. People are going to be like, the three people that watch this and my mom are going to be like, Daniel, why is your eye red? Are you okay? No, I'm fine. I just am rubbing my eyes because I'm equally hungover, Alfie. Solidarity. Anyway, the man, the myth, the legend. He was the second one on the show. We love it. I almost called him Bumptious Brighton Boy. The man, the myth, the legend. Again, I said that twice. I'm all over the road. With the versatile name, Rob Bertha, the man that I so usually make a weird nickname for. We'll just call him Jesus in the spirit of Gabriel Jesus. How about that? Jesus, how's it going, dude?
I am well, thank you. Good to be on the show. We're recording lots of stuff at the moment. If you're watching on YouTube, just after you've watched this, go and, if you can bear it, go and watch a load more of us chatting absolute wass about Arsenal and anything really. We've recorded a lot of YouTube videos at the moment, so check them out.
We did a really interesting one on Milinkovic-Savic actually, just yesterday with Mac. So check that out. Sorry, Rob.
Absolutely, do go and check that out. And not to continue this attack on your pronunciation, Daniel, but you also pronounced the Maldives, which
that I've heard. That I've heard people say Maldives.
I don't know. I thought he said mailbags. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Maldives. It's definitely Maldives.
Yeah, Maldives.
I've never heard of
Yeah,
Maldives. Malteser, good British candy. I've only heard Maldives.
yeah, Maltesers are great. But yeah, just fix up before the next show, please, because we don't want to get a bad rep. Hence why we're not talking about the sort of elephant in the room.
Yeah, no, we really care about our reputation here. We're all whippersnappers that are trying to get a good job in our fuchies. So yeah, none of that crap. And yeah, I'll be sure to fix up. Hey, I've been out for like 2 weeks, man. I went on a boat. And this is hilarious. I went on a boat, drank every day, ate unlimited food, and then the next week, my lady's 11-year-old sister came to the apartment and stayed with us for a week. The 11-year-old here was significantly more exhausting than being drunk every day for 5 days, by the way. So, shout out to all of you with kids out there. I don't know how the hell you do it. Anyway, Alfie, let's talk about the preseason. It's coming up, dude. We're right there, and it's you said Nuremberg or something. Nice, doing the old Germany before our real season. Alfie, do you get excited for these preseason fixtures, or do you just kind of like, whatever?
Yeah, well, on the off-season thing in general, and as you said, it's going to be a short one. It just is. It's sort of like every summer we get that initial rush of transfers and stuff. So there's a lot to talk about, and then there's that lull period, sort of when preseason's starting. And yeah, I do get excited. I'm slightly less excited when I just saw earlier that we have to pay $5.65 or something to watch a preseason game, which is fucking insane on Arsenal.com. So I might have to find a stream because my finances are not good enough to pay for that. On the other side, maybe everyone at We Love the Arsenal can chip in, and we can get one account and just finesse that account. I don't know if that'll work, but anyway, I do get excited because you get to see some of the younger players you don't normally see. I think we will see a few of them. Perhaps I think some of the players have travelled. Ruel Waters, who I hadn't heard about until the Ipswich game. Leno Sousa, I think that's how you say his name, is there. We might see more of Charlie Patino. Matt Smith was involved. We all forgot about him. My brother, I remember that joke when we won the FA Cup. More trophies than Harry Kane. Omari Hutchinson. There's probably a few more names. Marcelo Flores. Salah Ulad Mahand. We might see some of him. So that'll be exciting. There's that side of it, and then there's obviously the new signings. Like we might see Matt Turner in action. I think it might be a bit. I know Jesus is there, but it might be a bit early, maybe for him to play. But maybe he'll get off the bench. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Marquinhos as well. So yeah, it is exciting, and it's always exciting. You haven't watched the Arsenal for a few months, and then you get it. They come back. It's I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to more the Sevilla game at the Emirates in a few, because I'll actually be there in a few weeks. I won't have to pay five. I mean, I've paid for a ticket, obviously, but I won't have to pay to watch it online, which is insane. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it's football, it's Arsenal. Obviously, you're not going to be heavily invested in it, but I do always watch preseason. Some people think that's insane, but I guess if we're doing what we do, then you have to. But yeah, I'd say I'm excited. I don't really know what else to say, to be honest. But it'll be interesting to see what sort of like how we play, like if there's any new tactical nuances to the system, anything like that, because this is the sort of time where they begin to work on it before the season, and you sort of see how that works. Last year, for example, we got to see a bit of Nicholas Jover's or Jova, whatever his name is, set piece coach, some of his work and how it wasn't great early on, but obviously it recovered. And also we started playing a much higher line last pre-season, and that was sort of an indication of how we play for the rest of the season. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, so am I. I mean, I fully agree with everything you said too. Like the only real aspect of the preseason that I do look forward to is those young players, yes, but I also like seeing the fringe guys get an outing. Like it wouldn't surprise me at all to see the likes of Bellerin, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Those players that you sort of forgot about because they were gone on loan and they didn't really pull up any trees. But then maybe you see them again, and maybe they can have
I thought Bellerin was like quite good. That's what I heard.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to insult either of them or anything, but it was just like he didn't have a Saliba sort of loan, where he's coming back. We're like, oh snap, we've got a player on our hands now. We got the best out of him there at Betis or whatever. But we just sort of forget that these guys still play for us, and I'm interested to see the fringe players and the young ones, especially the likes of Flores and like Patino and all those guys, the real more famous youngsters, if you like. Rob, um, long way to the season still. We've got some traveling to do. So it seems like Alfie is going to go see him in the flesh at a friendly, and your boy is as well. So that's exciting. Yeah, no, just to sort of walk me through like your mentality of the preseason. Do you kind of like watch each match, sort of like wincing, like please don't get injured before everything starts, or are you like, no, come on, no pressure, total football, play your heart out and entertain the fans that don't ordinarily get to see you, like that dumbass Daniel Finton?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question because, the preseason gives fans from abroad an opportunity to watch the team who sometimes, can't because, getting to London is unfeasible for some people. And yeah, that's a really important aspect. So it's important that the players sort of give their all to an extent. Obviously, to an extent, usually it's a completely different 11 in every half. So we see perhaps a more experienced side in the first half of games and a much more changed team in the second half. So I think, like, whilst you're on the pitch, it's important that you sort of give as much as you can, and on a personal level, that's really important as well because that's what preseason's all about: getting your fitness levels back to where they should be. So yeah, I really hope that they can offer that for you, Danny. I'll be hoping to join Alfie at that preseason game as well, 30th of July.
How many of tickets still available?
Yeah, there are. I had a look the other day, and then they also told me I need to renew my membership. So, love that from the Arsenal. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. One thing I'm always very excited about as an Arsenal fan, especially in the last few years, is seeing the new kits as well. I can't wait till that black one is sort of revealed. That looks very, very sexy. So yeah, looking forward to seeing them. As you mentioned, Daniel, as well. Watching those fringe players is sometimes quite exciting as well, just to see what they can offer. I think everyone who watches / listens to this podcast knows how we feel about Cedric. And, if Bellerin can sort of come in and be that guy who would be prepared to be an understudy, I don't know. I'd imagine that he'd still quite like to leave the club this summer, but I'd prefer to have him as backup to Tomiyasu than Cedric. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching him play. And yeah, I think you covered most of the guys that are coming back. Pablo Mari as well. Have to watch him in a high line at some point, I'd imagine. And yeah, I think it's interesting that Jesus is there. A lot of those guys who've been playing international football aren't back yet. Shows Jesus' enthusiasm to get involved straight away. So yeah, exciting times, really.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree on Bellerin, by the way. It would be so much nicer to have a likable, decent player as an understudy to Tomiyasu than it is to have Cedric. Alfie, interesting question, just because we're going to I don't really know what else to talk about in terms of preseason, because that's pretty much all there is to say. You're excited for youngsters. You're excited for fringe players. That's that. Results, secondary. You care about performances. You want the players to get fit. An interesting thing that I was just thinking, we're talking about Gabriel Jesus and whether or not he'll be involved. The thing I was thinking was we still have a fair amount of work to do in this transfer window. So does it sort of irritate you, Alfie, that maybe, we haven't got a good amount of the business done before these preseason games? Or do you think that's just a symptom of how the market is and how difficult it actually is to sign players?
Well, I think the something that pre-season is reminding us is we have a lot to do on the outgoing side. Very few rumours to any of our players, really. You think of like Bellerin, like, okay, there was the Betis thing. Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, Pepe, Leno. There's been a few links to Fulham. We have a lot to do on that side. I do expect most of that to be done sort of the final week of August. I think it will come down to then. In terms of the incoming, I think it's been a pretty good opening month or whatever, how long it's been of the window. As we and Rob have said several times in our videos, there's always that initial flurry where you sort of secure the targets that you've had in place for a while. And the Jesus deal, for example, has been in motion for months. Like this didn't just like spring up in the last week. We've been liaising with his representatives for ages, and we've managed to get it done now. Vieira obviously came out of nowhere. I think the Tielemans deal might be done. I've thought that for a while. I know that they've had personal terms agreed for a very long time, for a couple of months. I think I've got a hunch that deal is basically done. Like we can secure that at any point we want. They were waiting in the market to see what happens, because we don't feel like there's much competition, but I think we'll get that done. I think we've obviously been chasing Martinez. That's had a lot of complications. We chased Rafinha, but obviously that looks like that's not going to happen. I think we will be in this lull period now for a while before we start to see a bit more movement, sort of towards the end of July, just before the season. Then again, maybe if we haven't got everything done in sort of later bits of August, like last season when we signed Tomiyasu on deadline day, I think, or just before deadline day. So not really. I'm not worried. And I think someone like Tielemans, although we all obviously want them ideally to come in before pre-season and then be integrated during pre-season into the first team, I think someone like Tielemans, we know him very well as a player. He's Premier League proven. If he's played in this league before, he could arrive a week before the Palace game, having done pre-season with Leicester, and step straight in and play against Palace easily, no problems. So that one I'm not too worried about. For example, on the other side of it, Lisandro Martinez, you probably want him to come in earlier if he is going to come in. So no, I'm not worried, I wouldn't say, and I'm not particularly frustrated. I think we've done pretty well so far.
Completely agree. Once again, this is a very anti-confrontational podcast today. We're all in agreement. What's going on? No, I think what a lot of people kind of fail to realize is, sometimes the clubs get pressured to sell actually when it gets later on in the window. I know it seems from an outsider's perspective like it's all optics, the deadline day signing, all that. But I think genuinely, a team like Leicester, maybe they're holding out for whatever it is, 40 million for Tielemans, but deadline day comes around and then they're like, shit, well, maybe we will take 32 or 35 or something just because we want to secure that money. So yeah, don't be stressed out, man. Arsenal too. We love a deadline day signing. We love leaving it late. Procrastination makes perfect. So I'm not too worried, and I don't think anybody else should be either. But Rob, just to sort of tie in that discussion to the preseason one that we've since passed, because now I finally thought of a way to bridge those two. Do you think performances from any of those fringe players or any of the youngsters can sort of affect the way that we go into the transfer market? Say, Nuno Tavares has an incredible preseason and he starts to look like more of a refined product. Do you think that will change our plans at all going into the transfer market? Save money where you got to, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Perhaps youngsters, if, I don't know, Charlie Patino, for example, has a really good preseason. We've seen pictures of him. He's bulked up a little bit, which, is a big thing for him, because every time he sort of was given opportunities last season, he just looked like the little kid on the playground. So yeah, perhaps the young players can make an impression, but I don't know, those fringe guys, Arteta's made his mind up on a lot of them. Let's face it, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, for example, it seems like every bloody summer it's like, oh, let's give him one more chance. We just know that Arteta doesn't like this guy. He won't. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles doesn't really seem capable of changing either. He's been given so many opportunities to. As for other players, I don't know. I think that, again, with Nuno, I think the mind might be sort of made up a little bit, just that he needs that one season or even half a season if he's kept the Europa League, just to sort of tidy up his game a little bit. And I'm totally cool with that. But, a lot of planning goes into transfer windows, and I know that there are of course, contingency plans, but I think at the moment, we're still probably where we perhaps envisioned we would be at the start of the window. I think it just would have been dreamy if we could have got Rafinha and Martinez done straight away, but I don't think anyone expected those deals to get done. I just think that we're still probably thinking, let's shift the players we wanted to get rid of at the start of the window, and let's bring in the alternatives to Martinez and Rafinha if those deals cannot get done. I think that's where heads will be at the moment.
It's so difficult too, because like a huge, I think, component of us getting rid of some of this deadwood is the fact that so many teams are just, or I should say, no teams are really interested. And that just kind of shows the complete lack of quality within some. I think somebody like an Ainsley Maitland-Niles, we should be able to get some money for, because maybe I'm being biased and I just have a soft spot for him, but I think he has potential, and I think he can. I don't know exactly what position he would, adopt if he were to go to a, lower ranked team or whatever. But I think that's kind of the beauty of him, is that he could be sort of molded into whatever you'd like. I know he has a midfield preference or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, I might just add to sort of the point you were making earlier about sort of how last minute teams change their valuation. I imagine that sort of thing will be happening with us, and teams can get desperate in the last minute as well. You never know what's going to happen in preseason. We've spoken about injuries. If a semi-decent Premier League side or any sort of fairly rich Big Five league team loses their goalkeeper in preseason, Bernd Leno's their man 100%. All teams I'm guessing, will be looking at him if they're having sort of a goalkeeper crisis. He's too good of a goalkeeper just to be sat on the bench as, potentially Arsenal's number 3 if they really choose to prefer Matt Turner in that role. So yeah, I think a lot of our players will sort of be, I don't know, the standby option for a lot of teams out there.
I think on Leno, I think he's just waiting for a better offer than Fulham. I know he's apparently wants to stay in London. He's really settled here with his wife. But yeah, I think him and his agent probably think we can get a better offer than Fulham. No disrespect to Fulham, but he is a very good goalkeeper, and Fulham quite likely to go down. Who knows? But yeah, I think he's waiting it out, and that may be a deal that happens later in the window. I'm not saying he's not going to go to Fulham. He could go to Fulham, but I think if he does, it will be very late in the window. I think we mentioned this a while ago on a podcast. There is a chance. I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's sort of out the Germany picture for the World Cup now. Like, I don't think there's much he can do, because obviously they got Neuer and ter Stegen, but then they've also got Trapp, who just won the Europa League with Frankfurt, and he's definitely overtaken Leno now. So I think he's sort of out that picture. He may look to just see out the last year of his contract, probably not play at all, maybe, or hardly play, unless there's a crisis. But that wouldn't be too surprised if that happens, which is a shame, because it is a player we could get money for, but he needs to be willing to go as well. Yeah. That's an interesting one. I think
I will say on that. Sorry, just to interject. I will say on that, to quote Mr. Gunnerblog from the Arscast. He said this about Eddie Nketiah when he ended up, signing the new deal. Never underestimate the confidence of a professional athlete, because Bernd Leno, I'm sure, believes in his heart, because you're not going to be a good professional athlete if you're not a super confident individual. I'm sure he believes in his heart that if he moves somewhere to get first team football, he could get himself back into that Germany picture. So I'm not sure I could see Leno actually just sitting around and, just taking the really good wages that we have him on. That's something I would do. but I'm also not a professional athlete. And Leno just frankly doesn't strike me as a kind of personality that would do that anyway. I think he's a super professional guy. So I see where you're coming from, and it would be logical financially for sure. But I don't know. I think Leno will go this season, and he'll get a good move for himself. But like you said, just holding out for a better move than Fulham.
I think he probably will go, but I do think that's a chance. I would say, like, if he's moving to Fulham, he might look at that and say, yeah, if I'm playing at Fulham, no disrespect to Fulham, disrespecting them quite a lot. Sorry, Fulham fans. There's definitely no one watching that supports Fulham, but you know, if he's playing at Fulham, he could have a great first half of the season, but he's still, I don't see him being in the Germany conversation when you've got people. I mean, Trapp's going to be in the Champions League and Ter Stegen and Neuer obviously in the Champions League. So I don't know. I just think it's a bit far-fetched. I think if he gets an offer from like a bigger club, I know he's linked with Benfica, but if for example, what Rob says, there's an injury at a big club in goal, and then they look at Leno as a short-term solution, I think maybe then he'll take it. But if he's getting these smaller offers, he might think, I can sit on the bench even until January or next season and get myself a much better move on much better wages and have my choice of clubs. So I don't know. I wouldn't rule that out, but I agree. He probably will leave, even if he has to go to Fulham. Yeah. On Maitland-Niles, I was going to say, surely there's a market for a player like that. Like, I know he's like a few years ago, I think it was 2 summers ago, there was talk of him going to Wolves, and we turned down a bid of like 15 or 20 million or something, and we were looking for upwards of like 30 million.
Yeah, because he went and played bloody brilliantly in the Community Shield final, and he was just absolutely fantastic. And we were like, oh yeah, this is the guy. He's going to be crucial for us this season.
And the FA Cup final, and that whole run at the back end of the 1920 season. And we thought, yeah, he's our left wing back, which is where he was playing. That's just such a shame that situation has gone to that. We haven't managed him well. We should have sold him. I think we can all say that in hindsight. At the time, though, there's a video on our channel, actually. It's a clip from one of our podcasts. We were all saying, no, we should definitely not sell to Wolves at 15, 20 million. But it was sort of that Joe Willock, Emi Martinez situation. He had a very good end to a season, and his value was high at that point. He was wanted by clubs. That's when you have to sell players. At that point, he wasn't absolutely essential to our team. He could have been useful if we'd used him better, but he wasn't essential. And yeah, we should have sold him then. We could have got very good money, but there's still, surely, as I was saying, there's got to be some level, some market. He's English. He's an England international. He's going into his prime. I think he's 24. He's not young anymore, but he's pre-prime. He's just entering his prime. He's very versatile, as we've said. Great athlete, can play, right back in midfield. As Daniel said, you could sort of mould him into what you want. Yes, he was quite underwhelming at Roma, but there's obviously a player in there, and I'm surprised we haven't seen more links. It's only been Nottingham Forest that I've seen as of yet. So
yeah, don't worry, Everton will throw 25 million at him soon. We'll be fine.
That will be the most Everton signing ever. Which, by the way, I'm so frustrated they're going for Harry Winks, and they're just going to gift Spurs like 20, 25 mil for such an average player who's pretty much that's piece of recruitment is like the epitome of Everton's failings recently. Yeah. I don't know what Daniel just put something in the chat. Daniel, just speak.
That was I just came up with the title for it, but I'm not gonna for this episode. But I'm not gonna say it because it's too clever. So they'll just have to see it when they. Now, obviously, if they're listening to this, they know what the name of the episode is. Just came to me now. Yeah, I would love to get Everton to sign one of our players for way too much. That Iwobi thing that they did for us was we owe them. We owe them, man. That was amazing. I had a soft spot for Iwobi, to be fair, but I remember even hearing them coming in with 40 million. I was like, are you fucking serious? Right
How
now?
Everton would it be for them to sign Pepe for that massive money?
It would be. You're not lying, dude. I imagine, Everton come in, they're like, you know what, 45. We're like, for real?
There's just such an insane list of some of their deals, which is like, no wonder you've ended up having that season that you've just had. I mean, Dele Alli, 40 million. They brought in Van der Beek on loan. Iwobi, 35 million. Fabian Delph was like 20 million or something. That might be wrong.
And people would say if they signed Pepe, would be like, oh yeah, it could be really good for them actually. He could really rediscover himself there.
Exactly. And he just won't. I'm not sure what else, but yeah.
This is an interesting question. I'll throw this one to Rob. With Europa League, as a part of our season next campaign, is it really that huge of a deal if we can't get some of the fringe players off the books? Because I know that obviously financially it would really help us a lot to move on guys, especially namely Lucas Torreira, that just appears as if he's not going to have any part in the team at all. He's even publicly come out and said, I cost $15 million, bro. That's the way it is. And by the way, I think that's a pretty good deal for Lucas Torreira. But does it really matter if we can't move him on? I mean, we're going to have a lot of matches next season.
I think it does still, just because of the sort of, I don't know. I think for the culture we're trying to sort of create, I think every player has sort of earned their spot in the current squad, and if we're just sort of taking players back because we need them, I think it perhaps sends out a bit of the wrong message. But I see where you're coming from in the sense that if we can't get the business done, like a few of these players just aren't that bad at all and would be useful to have around. I just think from their own perspective, like someone like Ainsley Maitland-Niles, if you're really content with settling and playing in the Europa League for Arsenal again, like, come on, man, you've got to have the bigger aspirations than that. But yeah, I would expect that however we do it, most of these guys will be moved on. Absolutely.
Yeah, I fully agree. Alfie, you said it before I asked that question. I'm not really sure what else. Yeah, same here, dude. I don't really know what else to talk about. You have any ideas, you ever wise man?
I was going to suggest Tielemans, but we've sort of done that. We'll do. You know what we'll do? Because Rob needs to go. So it's been a really nice, quick, brief podcast. But we'll do a Tielemans transfer video because those rumours are hotting up again, maybe tomorrow. And we'll make that sort of 10, 15 minutes. And that will sort of be an additional bit to this podcast. So, yeah, I guess we wrap it up. It was a nice little talk, even if it was a short one. But some of the podcasts are like this in the off season. But next week we may have football to talk about. We could do one after the Nuremberg game, a little extra one, extra cannon podcast. Yeah, get Mac on. Yeah. Anyway, Daniel, right. Take it away.
Excellent. I think that may be one of the shortest podcast episodes ever. Then this is actually exciting. I love when they're totally different, like when the drunk cast.
We used to do like 2.5 hour ones just casually mid-season, but it was. Well, I don't think it was like great, like loads of, like we were way more rambly.
Yeah,
like, that was the problem.
Yeah, I know. We just talked on and on and on. First class.
Not even like special drunk cast episodes. They were just random episodes in the season.
About our, narrow defeat to Burnley at Turf Moor. We're like, let's assess it for 2.5 hours, man. We're going to get into every single detail ever. And I was no help. I have no memory. So Alfie would be like, well, if you remember in the 17th minute, when I'd be like, what, bro? How do you remember that? Incredible. Okay, then I guess we'll leave it there. There's no sense in just dragging this thing on, I guess. Alfie, I'll come to you first, my friend. Marketing opportunity of a lifetime.
I'm going to plug the YouTube channel again. You're probably watching it on there. If you're not, if you're on Spotify, go over to the YouTube channel, subscribe. We're gaining subscribers at a decent rate. We're getting decent views as well. And it's all nice and rosy on there. We're, discussing transfers. It's fun. Why would you not want to watch it? And yeah. Also the website. So Maya put out a great piece. I was supposed to write today, but I was violently hungover, so I didn't get around to it. Unfortunately, I've been busy writing Sport Bible. I've done. I worked out earlier 82 Sport Bible articles, which feels mental, and it only started at the late of May. Rob's done plenty more than that. So that is taking up a lot of time. But yeah, go over to the website, check out welovearsenal.co.uk, and also our Patreon, which will be coming soon, maybe. Everyone's laughing. Yeah.
I can't wait till my mom is the only subscriber. Rob, or I should say Jesus, what do you got to plug, my dude?
I'm just going to repeat the YouTube suggestion just because we're sort of a bit relentless with our content on there at the moment. And I know I spoke about it at the top of the show, but it's real quality stuff. So yeah, we'll record something on Tielemans tomorrow. And if you don't watch it, what are you doing with your life?
Well said. Yes, I'll third that, I reckon. Check out the YouTubes. We love you, Arsenal.co.uk. Blah, 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 blah. And yeah, leave a review on the pod. Share it with your cool uncles. Do all that fun stuff. Personal plug of mine. I'm doing social media for Vermont Green FC. You've heard me talk about it before if you're a fan of the show. Be sure to follow them on their home match days, because since it's a small operation, USL League 2, the only ones of their games that are streamed are their home ones, actually, because other clubs in USL League 2 don't care about their fans, but Vermont Green do. And when they do at their home matches, follow their Twitter, man. If you like their tweets, like them, retweet them, support me, because I'm the one putting them out, and I'm having a good time doing it. But yeah, check out all of our fun stuff. We're doing some really exciting things over the summer, and we will see you on the next episode, whenever that is, probably 10 years from now.
Bye.